Welcome to part 1 of our 7-night Disney cruise to Alaska on the Disney Wonder. So we were on a 7-night cruise to Alaska from Vancouver with stops in Skagway, Ketchikan, and Juneau, Alaska with 2 sea days. What is up, guys? We are here right before the mandatory muster drill. You got to go to this thing every time. But yeah, we're here in our room if you want to take a look around. It's an inside deluxe. So right like above me, there's like a pull down bed. So this is the pulled down bed. It's good for kids. It has a railing, very safe. There's stars on the ceiling for them to look at. The ladder just is a bit of a nuisance if you want to go to the bathroom at night. As we were sailing out of Vancouver, we actually got to sail right under the Lionsgate Bridge. So here's some footage of our sail out.
Wonder, 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 wonder.
Alright guys, we are on our way to dinner. We just set sail out of Vancouver and we sailed under the Lionsgate Bridge. I took some footage of that. It wasn't quite up in front, so hopefully footage still turns out good. But yeah, we'll see you guys at dinner. I don't really film when we're eating, so I'll put in like some pictures of the dishes we try and then maybe give you guys like a voiceover kind of review type of thing. Let's also talk about Embarkation Day lunch. While we're at it, you have 2 options. You can either go to the Cabanas buffet, which I'll show you later in the video, or you can go to a sit-down lunch. And we went to the sit-down lunch for the famous Embarkation Day empanadas. So this is the empanada.
Te traje una empanada.
Qué maravilla.
It's very good minced meat inside. It's well spiced. My dad said it's too sweet, but that's just because it's not the Mexican style. It's more of a South American empanada. But it's very good. It's an Embarkation Day classic. I would get it again. So this was my main course entree. Normally this comes with goat cheese, but I don't like goat cheese, so instead I just had it regular. Comes with pen pasta, some tomato sauce, pesto, and some tomatoes as well. This is very delicious, especially paired with a little bit of sea salt. It's chef's kiss delicious. Next up for dessert, I had carrot cake, which is a no-brainer. Delicious. Also not pictured here, I did have the gumbo soup that they have, seafood gumbo. Very good. I didn't take a picture of it, but that's also an Embarkation Day classic. This is my go-to meal on every Embarkation Day. So we were back at Tiana's for dinner. We had their secondary menu with their local inspiration dishes. So this is Louisiana crab dip. It was all right. It had decent flavor, decent spice, just not a lot of crab in there. And I would have liked some more of those little toasted baguette pieces to actually eat the dip with. For my main course, I had the seared pork medallions, which was one of the local inspiration dishes. It came with obviously the pork, came with sour cream and mushrooms, sauteed spinach, as well as a potato hash brown. This meal was all right. My favorite part was the spinach, oddly enough, and the mushrooms. The pork was a little dry, but the potatoes were nice and crispy. For dessert 1, I had the Maldonia Berry Financier, which was an almond crumble cake. It was absolutely delicious, one of the best desserts I had, would highly recommend. This was my second dessert, the banoffee cream pie, which is banana and toffee. Also very delicious, would highly recommend. So on our sailing, the Sail Away party was actually really late. It was at like 7:30, so the Sail Away party was actually after dinner. I got okay spots, so I'm going to put that footage in here, but yeah, pretty late for a Sail Away if you're sailing out of Vancouver. So we just finished the Sail Away party, and now I'm down here on deck 4 enjoying a hot chocolate. Over here we've got a view of, I think that's still Canada, But we're on our way back to the store to meet up with our folks, but there's like nobody out here. So I'm going to be going over some of the exclusive merch on this voyage. If you're not interested in the shopping stuff and what merch they have, I'll put a timestamp. But here we have the Alaska plushies. We bought both the Mickey and Minnie. Those are really popular. There was this Alaska blanket that I showed briefly there that a bunch of people were buying up. You had to spend a certain amount of money to be able to purchase that blanket though, but it wasn't like a gift with purchase. It was like spend like $80 or something and then you can buy the blanket for an additional $30. That blue purse right there, my mom bought one of those and she's absolutely in love with it. She takes it everywhere now. So if you're into bags, I hear that's a very good bag. At least she seems to think so. But here we just have some regular clothing. The Alaska stuff was more on the other half of this store. Here are the Alaska exclusive ears. This is a hoodie. It's a children's hoodie. I bought one of those hats. You could see me wearing it a bit before. I'm describing this stuff, but obviously you guys are watching the video. They offered binoculars, which I think is really handy if you don't have a pair. It's really good to have binoculars in Alaska. Some magnets and some pins, t-shirts, more Alaska mini stuff. That's like a windbreaker, which I think would have been really handy on this cruise because it got really windy, like top deck. That was a Spirit jersey / hoodie that was really popular that we just showed briefly there. A lot of people on the voyage were wearing that. And I think here I finally hopped over to Mickey's main sale. You can see they've got all of the mini ears and hats and stuff. More just, here's where the 2025 merch is. Some Pride Month merch. We did sale in June. I don't know if they take the stuff down or if they just sell until they're out of stock. I don't know if you'll be able to find any of that anymore. The classic towel animals, some Crocs, t-shirts. It really does speak for itself, even though I'm speaking over it, but more Spirit jerseys. I will say that I think the DCL Spirit jerseys are very nice. A lot of them are just a little flashy, in my opinion, which is fun if you like that, but some of them I'm like, I can't really wear this on a day-to-day. I have a DCL jersey that I wear like frequently, I would say. That's more of just like the toned down like nautical one. I think that one's pretty good, but a lot of them are, very heavily themed, but obviously fun to wear if you go to like the parks or fun to wear on the cruise. A lot of people were wearing the merch that they bought on the Alaska Cruise. Here's some pirate merch. Unfortunately, Alaska Cruises don't have Pirate Night, which is pretty sad because I love Pirate Night. All right, for this day, we had a day at sea and I didn't really film a lot, but I did take pictures of our meals. So we'll start off with breakfast at Cabanas. So this was close to what I would typically get every morning at Cabanas. Bacon, scrambled eggs, hash, an eggs Benedict, and a French toast. However, normally I would swap out that biscuits and gravy and I would have a full grilled tomato, so 2 halves, and that would be my breakfast every day. So this is almost the everyday Cabanas breakfast. So this was my one and only Cabanas lunch. I went back to Cabanas for lunch. We had some grilled shrimp, which was delicious. Marinated fish, also delicious. Probably my favorite thing at Cabanas. Sticky day pudding, the best dessert. Mac and cheese, and then Jonah crab claws. Overall, a pretty good lunch. For dinner, we were at Triton's with their regular menu, and Triton's is a French-themed restaurant after The Little Mermaid. And so for my appetizer, I got escargot, which is good. It's got a very earthy flavor. It's snails, but it doesn't taste like gross or like a bug or anything. It really just tastes like mushrooms with a little bit of a chewier texture. Slimy, but satisfying. I had 2 entrees for dinner. I had the Chateaubriand, which is the steak on the left, which is a pretty decent steak. And then I also had the crispy roast duck, which is actually my favorite dish from Triton's. It's one of my favorite plates on the cruise ship. It was nice and crispy. The skin was like really crunchy. It comes with roasted parsnips and cabbage as well, which really complement the dish. It's still one of my favorite dishes on DCL. For dessert, I had the apple tart tatin, which is on the left, which is like, an apple tart along with shortbread and ice cream. It was very good, a little bitter like it should be. And then the creme brulee it's a classic. My whole family got a creme brulee. We all love the creme brulees at Triton's and on DCL. All 3 of us got one of these. They're absolutely delicious. So after dinner, it was Golden Mickey's night, which is one of the Broadway style shows they do on the theater. And so after the Golden Mickey's, there was the Golden Mickey's after party, which turned out to be a dance party, and my mom got to dance with Minnie. So here that is. said it would be a good time to whale watch on our way in, so I'm heading up to get food and whale watch while I eat. So, alright, so we are up here on top deck. We've got our binoculars ready, and we'll see if we see anything. So I was able to catch on camera some Dall's porpoises. There was one right there briefly. There'll be another one in a second. But they're a species of porpoise, and they're very fast. So when they come to the surface to breathe, they create what is called a rooster tail. And so that's what you'll be able to see. And on the video, basically anytime you see one of those white splashes, that's what it is. So if you're watching this on a phone, you probably won't be able to see them good. But if this is on a TV, you might be able to kind of make out their fins. But they're very fast swimmers. Sometimes people confuse them for orcas, but we saw a ton of them on our voyage. This was just like really good footage of a lot of them swimming, interestingly, against our ship. A lot of time, cetaceans tend to swim with the cruise ship. They like to catch the waves. Dolphins, whales, they like to do that. But these porpoises were actually swimming against us, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, porpoises. So while waiting in line for characters, we were able to spot a whole pod of humpback whales, and we got to see them come to the surface so many times. You can see them just right there in the water. You can see even when they're not right at the surface, you can see like the circles that they leave in the water, which is really cool. And we got to see them surface tons of times. They would come up, do their blowhole. Sometimes they would splash the water back down, show us the whale tail. But there were a ton of them. And there was also this tiny little otter, which you can kind of see. And I kind of got distracted from filming the whales because I'm like, there's an otter. I got to film this otter. And they're bigger than you would think, otters. But it's kind of hard to, they're kind of small when you're on top of the ship. And I decided to just completely stop filming the whales and film the water. And then I almost missed this whale tail right here, which is really cool. And then I immediately went right back to the otter. In hindsight, I think it would have been a little cool if I would have kept filming like the entire pod of whales. There was a ton of them, but it was just really cool to see that many whales all together. And then a sea otter in general is also a very rare thing to see. It's also rare to spot, even if it's there, they're small, you might not see them. But this was just a really cool experience. We were sailing into what they call Endicott Arm, which is where they have the Dawes Glacier, which you guys will get to see later on the Glacier Day. Glacier Day really is the best day to take character pictures because the lines are outside and you're already going to be outside anyway, so it doesn't feel like you're taking extra time. But here's a time lapse as we're getting closer to the glacier. There's a lot of great views, lots of great stuff to see. So here we are at Dawes Glacier, and as you can see, we don't get too close on the cruise ship just because it's not safe with all of the ice flows. That's why they have these smaller excursion boats that will take you closer. We didn't do one of those, but you could see an ice float to the left of the camera, and as you can see, they get pretty big, but it was still a very nice view. With binoculars, you can get a lot of detail. We're a lot closer than it looks like on the video, but still not super close, but it really was a beautiful journey and destination. We are down here on deck 3. It's a little noisy, we're right by the water, but I've been filming all day, Glacier Day, tons of stuff to see, tons of wildlife. We saw porpoises, whales, otters, bald eagles. I got footage of all of that. Only thing I didn't really get footage of was seals. Well, I didn't get any footage of seals. My mom managed to get this very good footage right here. Really up close, just amazing how close they are and how clear they are to the ship. But now let's get into our dinner for the night. We once again returned to Trident's for dinner, this time for the frozen themed menu, And for my appetizer, I got this seafood puff pastry. You can really only see the puff pastry, but inside there was scallops and carrots and onions. It was a little too earthy for me, but the seafood, like the scallops, that was all good. I also had this carrot caraway soup. It was okay and just okay. I thought it would be sweet because it was carrots, but the caraway made it savory, so it just wasn't what I was expecting. For my main course, I had an Alaskan salmon with some potatoes. It was probably one of the best entrees I had. It was nice and simple, but it was still good. For dessert, I had an apple bread pudding, which was really good. You can see the ice cream was already a little melted, but it paired great with ice cream because it was nice and warm. I've been showing you our dinners, but what about our breakfasts? So pretty much every day we would go to Cabanas for breakfast. They've got a full breakfast buffet with an omelet station, a ton of different breakfast options. They have everything you could want from different cultures and stuff. Here you can see me grabbing some of the Mickey churro waffles. These things are so good. They're absolutely delicious. They're only available on certain days on the cruise. We only had them twice on this sailing, so I had to snag them. But normally my breakfast, I would have the same thing every day. I would have scrambled eggs, hash, one whole grilled tomato, some bacon, some sausage, and did I have anything else? No, that was pretty much my breakfast every single day. Oh, I would have French toast with apple compote as well. And there's a lot of different drink options. They have yogurt options, fresh fruit. The drink station is great. That's one thing I love about Disney Cruise Line is you always get great drinks. They have boxed cereal if you would prefer that, along with milk cartons, a little oatmeal bar, and they also have a fresh pastry section, which I'm walking through right now. As you can see, they have a wide variety of pastries. That's another thing that I absolutely love. I love the pastries that they have for breakfast every day. They also have a station that I just briefly walked through over there that has like smoothies and stuff. Here's the drink station. The smoothie station also has stuff where you can basically build your own salmon and lox on a bagel. I didn't try that out on this voyage, but I want to next time. Next up is the actual drink stations, which are right in front of Cabanas. Complimentary included with your I shouldn't say complimentary. It's included with your voyage, but they have fountain drinks, and then they have a coffee, tea, hot chocolate station. You can get cream. You can get hot water for your coffee. They have honey there as well. So really your one-stop shop for drinks, and those are included with the cruise. I would always get vitamin water every time. It's the thing I do on the cruise. Everybody has certain cruise behaviors, but that over there that you can kind of see a little bit was Pete's Boiler Bites, which is your on-deck food, grilled stuff such as burgers, hot dogs, bratwursts, the famous chicken tenders, which I'm personally not as big on as a lot of other cruisers are. And then right here you have Pinocchio's Pizzeria, which is hit or miss, but sometimes it does really hit. Then next up we have Cabana's lunch, but they have a ton of selection. They have, obviously you could see there, we just passed the carving station. They have different themed sections. Right here is the South Asian section. At certain times they have my favorite section of the entire ship, the Latino corner.
Mi gente latino.
Obviously the best part of the ship, but they have just a lot of different selections. And then in the center case here, they have desserts. The sticky date pudding is always very, very good. You can see it right there. They also have a really good seafood section, which I will get to in a little bit. And they have like shrimp, crab claws, sometimes crab legs. This was actually the first voyage I go on with claws instead of legs. But here you can get a good view of that. Just very high quality food, very delicious. And while we're doing a ship tour, I'd like to give you guys a look at the engine room on deck 3. So the naturalist on board, whose name is, I kid you not, Peter Griffin, told us that it would be a good day to see the northern lights. We'd be able to see them so long as it was completely dark and not cloudy. So we got up at 2 a.m. It still wasn't even all the way dark, and unfortunately it was cloudy. We couldn't see them. But this is the end of part 1 of our vlog. Stay tuned for part 2. But I've got to let you in on the real reason that we are in Alaska. We have intercepted vital information that leads us to believe that RFK Jr. has discovered the location of Sasquatch. But what does RFK Jr. want with our woodland ally? Well, the answer may shock you. In order to take advantage of Sasquatch's healing properties, RFK Jr. plans to eat Sasquatch like a real-life Gaston Gourmand. We are going to Alaska to get Sasquatch off the menu. That's right. We're going to Alaska to get Sasquatch off the menu. To be continued in part 2 of this 2-part vlog series.